There's only radio station for women and their families, and I hope you're doing amazing wherever you're listening to me from this very moment. It's currently 5 minutes past 12 o'clock, and today is the 11th day in the month of February 2026. I'm particularly excited about today's conversation on the big question because it sits at the intersection of, gender, education, innovation, and the future. You're welcome. My name is Fifoluwa Akiremi, and of course, we're going to be having this conversation together. It's a wee thing. It's not just one person. We're doing this together. Today, particularly marks the International Day of Women and Girls in Science. If you don't know now, you know. Today marks the day, International Day for Women and Girls in Science, and it is a day that is dedicated to recognizing the female role, the role that women or females play in science, technology, engineering and mathematics, and also addresses why so many girls are still missing from these spaces. That's what we're going to be talking about today on The Big Question. I'm not alone, just like I'm not doing it alone. I'm doing it with you, but I'm also not alone right here in the studio. I'm here with a fantastic ladies actually. One other person is going to join us shortly, but I'm here with an amazing lady, someone who is deeply passionate about youth development, about STEM learning, and every good thing around the world. She's here. We're going to be having a great conversation. I'm here with Bukola.
Hi. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. How are you doing today?
I'm very well, thank you. It's good to finally see you in person.
Yeah. It's good to meet you as well. So good to have you here.
Thank you so much. So, I'm so happy to be here and particularly having conversation on the International Day for Women and Girls in Science. Whether we like it or not, there has been the gap, and this has been for years. And if care is not taken, if we don't do the right thing, this gap is continually going to be there.
Of course.
So it's really amazing that we'll have a day like this, that we get to celebrate women who are in those fields, taking the lead when it has to do innovations, taking the lead in ICT, taking the lead when it has to do with the digital space entirely.
Of course, that's very, very important. And it's really valid we have this conversation. Now, for those who are listening, let's start from there. Let us know.
STEM definitely were really heavy on that, considering the fact that women over the years have been marginalized, right? And when we're talking about marginalization, this cuts across different fields.
Yes.
When we're talking about marginalization, and particularly in STEM, for those people who don't know, what STEM is, actually, STEM has to do with science. It has to do with technology, engineering, and mathematics. Right? That is what STEM is basically. So just in case you're wondering what we're talking about, STEM. Yeah, that is what it is. So when we talk about all these spaces, the percentage of women in these spaces does not match the percentage of women, men rather, that we have in these spaces, right? And if you have any events that has to do in line with this, most of the time you get to see men, more than you see women. So it is very imperative. Most of the time you get to see men, more than you see women. So it is very imperative that this is not just a situation that is happening probably for women when they're adults, but from a very tender age, women are involved. But from a very tender age, women are involved. Women and girls are, involved in some of all these ways, and we keep pushing for it. Eventually, the glass ceiling is going to give way.
Yes, I love. I really love that answer, and I love the work that you do and how it combines advocacy and practical daily life experiences. And most importantly, like you mentioned, many times when we hear STEM, it's more of a men-dominated industry. When even in schools and places, there's this stereotype that is just for men, and it's not true. It's not supposed to be. And I really, really love that you're talking about that. So for somebody listening for the first time, they don't know what the International Day for Women and Girls in Science is about. Why is it important, and what does this particular day really, really represent?
Okay, so this day represents. Okay, so This day represents giving a voice to women and girls. Now, when I mean giving a voice now, it's a day that is dedicated to ensuring that women are included in the tech space.
Yes.
That in the tech space.
Yes.
Women are included in digital space. Women are included in digital space. Women are included in spaces that, you know, in quotes now, has been generally seen as a male-dominated space.
Yes.
And now, because of all this, the United Nations definitely has seen this, has deemed this feat as a day that should be set aside to look at innovative ways where women and girls can be looked into, you know, innovations. They can come up with ideas of certain things, of certain challenges that they might see, for them to be able to provide solutions to it, you know, inventions that we see that are not, you know, the regular that are going to be happening. And if we want to look back, there are women who have been revolutionary in their approach to issues that has to do with the society. And it's the same way tech space. What we're hoping in this season is we continue to channel our energy in ensuring that the girl child is not left behind. Now, if you want to do this, we can't do this without ensuring that we get involved with the young girls when they are right from the primary school, the secondary school. We can overemphasize that.
Yeah.
And, you know, that's one thing that we're doing in Engage Youth Africa initiative. We have so many of our platforms and advocacies that have centered on ensuring that, you know, the girl child is not left behind. And I will give an example. We have, you know, one of us who is presently on scholarship, courtesy Engage Youth Africa initiative, and ensuring that she got admission to study a particular course that she wanted to study. Now, she got admission to study something else entirely. She wants to study, so we have more women, you know, in these spaces.
You mentioned that there are some of the things that are limiting women, especially when it comes to these spaces. And one of the things you mentioned earlier was finances.
Yes.
You know, for the girl you mentioned and all of that. What are some of the other gaps that you've seen in STEM that you think, you know, are not allowing the girl child to venture into all of this thing? What are some of those gaps, and how do you think we can close them up?
So first off, I'll say gender stereotype, right? This is something that cuts across not just even, it's not just even about how you're supposed to cook for the family, you know. Do the domestic thing. Radio will have a platform like, you know, different organizations who are they pushing up the agenda, equality, and this has to do with research spaces as well. You know, it's very funny that you are going to be having, maybe you have a research that is centered on probably the reproductive organ for women. I'm just citing an example now, right?
Yes.
And then you discover that you have most male figures in those...
Doing that research.
Do you understand? Doing the research. And you're wondering, hello, this is about women. You know, this is about women. When we look at politics right now, it is now that we're having women actually speak up, that when it has to do with issues that are particular to women, we have women in those spaces that are heading those spaces. Because if you get to look at it, I can't remember right now, there was this particular... I can't remember space when it has to do with politics that it has to do with women. And in Nigeria, it was a man that was heading it. And I'm like, how? How is it supposed to be a man? Does a man understand how it is to be a woman? Does he understand what it means to be a woman? Has he ever been a woman?
No.
You know? That is why it's a he. He has never been a woman. So if we begin to look at such spaces and we begin to infuse women in those spaces, obviously we'll now have women get involved in spaces that they need to be and influence some of the things that they're supposed to influence, so that women are beginning to be seen, women are heard, you know. It is getting better gradually. We can't say completely is as bad as it used to be, right? But then we can do better.
I love the fact that you mentioned that, and that shows that the gap is gradually closing up. You know, and you mentioned earlier that, you know, in political spaces, for example, we don't have more women doing all of these things. And I think that's why we're now clamoring for things like the reserve seat bill and all of those things. And I feel like, do you think that the reason why we don't have more women in these spaces is because many women are maybe afraid of not being accepted in this spaces? Because many times we've seen quite a number of women say, okay, I want to do this, but they're not allowed to do it. And sometimes it makes other women say, they're not going to accept me there. Let me just stay where I am. So do you think the reason why we're not having more women in these spaces is because more women are not coming up to say, I want to do this, and they are sticking to that belief and saying that we must get this done?
So again, yes, there's some women who are afraid, right? No doubt. But it's not all women that are afraid. And if you even get to check the roots of the fear, most of the time it's probably the society telling you, oh, that's not a space that you're supposed to be in. It's a male-dominated space. Are you sure you're going to survive?
Yes.
Are you sure you'll be able to, survive all of the probably toxicity that is there? Are you sure you'll be able to survive the masculinity that is there? There's a whole lot when it has to do with, like, perfect example is a situation of things that is happening or that happened self in a space where it is mostly male dominated. And now it's given, okay, it's seeming everything that she's doing, there is no way she's going to, get out of initiative, right? We try as much as possible. We also follow the UN calendar, and not just following the UN calendar at the moment. What we do is some of these days we get to mark them. And the reason why we're marking some of these days is to ensure that we lend a voice in making sure that women are heard. We provide mentorship as well for some of these young women who might be willing to be in these spaces, e.g. the tech space, it could be in the space when it has to do with leadership or their education. We provide, mentorship for some of these women. If we don't mentor some of these women, from some of the women who have gone ahead, right? If we don't mentor them, there's no way we're going to have a number of women in these spaces. So mentorship is very key as well in this.
Yeah, you're very correct about mentorship being very key, because a lot of people know what to do, but they don't know how to go about it.
Yes. And then they don't have the right set of people around them to help them, to guide them. Yes.
Exactly. So personally, from your experience, have you had any form of bias or discrimination on your journey in STEM?
Okay, so maybe not directly.
Okay.
Right? Maybe not directly, but I have worked with women who have, expressed their concerns when it has to do with this. Now, when maybe not generally STEM for me, but I would say personally for me, even in other spaces that I have worked, I have experienced that. Sometimes you get to see the way they commonize women to just what their body can give, which is really sad. I experienced that and I felt very terrible for it, right? I was just objectified, and, there was this conversation that was just going on and going on and going on. And I was just like, I couldn't say much because I didn't know this much then, right? So you can imagine for some of these women who are trying so hard to get into the space and are not able to. There is a woman that I know is doing excellently well now in the tech space, right? And whoever it is that helped her set up her space, the man who helped her in setting up her space, made mention of something. He said he really, really commended her, her stance for them. Your girl child is also as valuable as your boy child.
Yes.
Encourage them, tell them, invest in your girl child. She has a whole lot of potential in her.
Yes.
All you just need to do is to understand that part of her. Another place that I think I want to focus on again has to do with schools. Schools. It is actually very important we get to look into this. Now, being a teacher is a lot. I don't believe everyone should be a teacher, because I don't believe it's a calling.
Yes, it is.
But if you get to look at our educational spaces, it's that you're finding people who are sad, who are in these spaces, or
who are mostly angry.
Do you understand? Who are angry, right? Or you find people who, they're trying to look for a job and then they did not get a job. Teaching job is the easiest thing for me to do, and then go to do it. And also, some of all these schools who actually employ these people as well, it is very important that you're particular about who is coming to impact in your school.
Your school, yeah.
You don't just get just anybody and then the person comes and the person is talking, in your space. It has to be somebody who is passionate about it, and not just passionate, who understands, education effectively. If you have probably a group of 20 students in a class, and then you're paying attention to each student, what I want to believe is you can tell, oh, okay, this person is good in science, or this person is good. You can tell, oh, okay, this person is good in science, or this person is good in arts. This person is good in communication, right? Let's encourage them. Let's push them in that direction, because I don't want to believe that you don't see some of these children who are exhibiting these potentials.
I think many times many teachers are just stressed out. Most of them are underpaid. And many times I know of a school that has about 100 students in a class.
No, we can go about that, especially public schools. Anyways.
So that's a lot. So the teacher doesn't even have the time to discover potential in every single person, because they have a lot to do already. But I get what you're trying to say, because it's important. A lot of potential are dying in schools right now.
Yes,
they have a lot they can give.
Yes,
your parents can tell you, go to this, maybe go to commercial class, and you really have the desire to be in maybe sciences.
Yes,
but you will not be given the chance because they feel like you can't, or they've not taken time to actually study you and what you love. And a lot of children are just doing whatever their parents tell them to do or their teacher asks them to do, and they're not even fulfilled.
I'm sure you're familiar with some students or some children who will tell you, oh, I just want to get the certificate from my parents.
Of course.
And once I'm done, I'm going to give it to them. I'm going to whatever it is. And the interesting part of it is the generation of young people we're raising right now, a generation of young people who are really heavy on getting into the digital space.
Yes.
They are heavy on getting into the digital space.
I think that's the norm now. That's the trend. Yes.
So if parents are not shifting their mindset, if teachers themselves are not upgrading their skills to be in those kind of spaces, it's sad. Whatever it is that we're going to be doing, we are not going to be achieving anything. And this just goes to say also, owners of schools, right? There is a huge, lacuna that you also have to fill.
Yes.
You don't just go and meet somebody who says, okay, I can teach your students and that is it. What are you doing to brush up some of their skills as well? Are you training your teachers enough when it has to do with the issue of STEM? Are you training them enough? Digital skills, are you training them enough? Because it is very important that we push for this. If we don't push for this, whatever it is we're trying to do, believe me, it's not going to yield any results. Yes. So I just feel that whether we like it or not, the family space is important. Education is one thing, and teachers have to be trained. Teachers have their mindset have to change. If their mindset don't change, we're not going to get to results.
Thank you so much, Bukola. Such an awesome conversation and really enlightening, I must say. Our time is up and we have to go now. But thank you so much for joining us this morning, this afternoon. Yes, it was a really awesome conversation. And if truly we want innovation in our spaces, we want the upgrade, we want the revolution that we desire. It starts with every single one of us, from the household of parents telling their children, encouraging their girl children to do other things outside the norm of maybe go and learn tailoring, go and learn.
Do you understand? Go and learn hairdressing. So there's nothing wrong with vocational skills.
Of course.
But we can do beyond that.
Yeah, we can do beyond that. We can really, really do beyond that. Tech is not just for the boy child, it's for the girl as well. There are lots of women
most of the time when you hear tech, it's like, tech space is for the boy, and then you hear, tech bros. What happened to tech sis? There's nothing wrong in having that.
Thank you so much, Bukola. To every girl listening today, science is not too hard. It's not so hard. You can do it too. And technology is not just for the boys. You can do it as well. Thank you so much for joining me once again, Bukola. You. And today is still the International Day for Women and Girls in Science. And the conversation today was with Bukola. Thank you so much once again. My name is Finfolua Kirami. And till next week, Monday, on The Big Question. Enjoy the rest of your day.